All right, next up we've got Ketu in Virgo and Rahu in Pisces. Again, we've got materiality and earth sign balanced with balancing with a water sign, emotional, spiritual sign. Okay, materiality and inner life once again. How I put it, I put balance of work, which is Virgo, with Pisces, which is, I use the word relaxation here. Probably spelled it wrong. Okay, this is the balance between work and relaxation. Now, let me explain those two terms. The work of Virgo is that everyone has to do certain things on earth to deserve our place in life. You know, we have to do certain things to deserve our place in this world. The very least of those things is struggle to survive. You know, we can't live here without work. If you just sit down and do nothing, you'll rot and die. Okay? We have work to do that's obligatory for us to even have this body and survive here. That's Virgo. It's the work we need to do in order to deserve this existence, to be able to live in a body on earth. Okay? Pisces is freedom from all earthly concerns. And it is a sign of liberation. So you could say it's balancing work and liberation. But I use the word relaxation, meaning relaxation is the opposite of work. It's a state of complete passivity. And of course, liberation is an element of that. But that's sort of like the top tier of that. Relaxation basically means non-work. Work and non-work. And of course, Pisces, which is represented by the ocean, you know, when you're in the water, the weight of the world is gone. Your body's light and you float and you relax and it takes away all the tension. That's why swimming, jumping in the lake, going to swim the ocean is so good for reducing stress and overwork, because water just relaxes us, or just coming home and taking a shower or a hot bath. So Pisces, immersing ourselves in that ocean, is all about getting that relaxation, getting away from work. And that's what Pisces basically is. It's getting away from work, which simply put means relaxation, okay, of whatever kind you choose to do. And ultimately, the best relaxation is going into samadhi, where your body gets completely relaxed and forgotten, okay? But there's many types of relaxation below that. And that could be relaxation as in going and getting so drunk you don't know what's going on around you and you're totally relaxed because you're unconscious. Or just taking a nice hot bath, okay? But it's basically getting away from all the work that we have to do when we're here. So the balance between Ketu and Rahu is balancing the need for work with the reward of relaxation, I guess I would say. Now, Ketu and Virgo aren't very hard-working people, okay, as a rule. They feel that responsible for their duties and they easily fulfill their obligations. And they find a lot of security in thinking, I did what I needed to do today. I had a good day because I did what I had to do. I achieved or I accomplished what I had to do. I fulfilled my responsibilities. I fulfilled my obligations today. That's what they're striving for. And in their own world, that's what they see it. They always see the next duty they have to do. This is what I have to do next. This is what I have to do next. This is what I have to do next. But what they forget about, what they don't really see, is the whole purpose of it all. What's the purpose of all this work we do? The purpose of all the work we do is so we can relax. So that we can come home to a nice house and kick back, put our feet up on the table and turn the TV on and watch football. For some people, that's the relaxation. For another person, for the yogi, it's doing the work I need to get the food I need to feed my body and the space that I can go meditate. And now that I've done that, I'm going to go relax and meditate. Okay, so what that is different for everyone. But the goal of work, the goal of any work we do is relaxation of the type that's important to us. For some people that could mean watching movies. For another person that might mean just doing a hobby that makes them feel relaxed. But you know, that thing we want to do, that vacation feeling, because you know, this is always also vacations. Venus is exalted in Pisces, and Venus is a planet that loves to give us a nice vacation. So we work for the purpose of being able to do what gets us away from all the travail and hard work of the world, whatever that is for each person. So Ketu is very good at doing the work and fulfilling his duties, but he doesn't understand that the whole reason I'm doing this Because there's a whole world of relaxation out there for me. There's a whole world that can give me happiness and peace that has nothing to do with my work or my responsibilities. But Ketu's missed it, and he doesn't see that. He just sees his immediate duty, and he works hard to fulfill it. Okay? As a result of that, Rahu in Pisces makes it hard for him to know what to work towards. If everything is just a duty, what's the difference between this duty or that duty? It's just something I have to do, says Ketu in Virgo. Why he's doing it doesn't really matter. It doesn't come to his attention, okay? And that's brought up by Rahu and Pisces, making the person have indecision. And it's a different indecision than Gemini that we talked about. It's fluctuating indecision, which means Rahu and Pisces decides this is the right thing to do, starts going down that path, but not really seeing where that path can create happiness beyond the suffering of the world, backing off and going down another path. So it's going here a while and going here a while and going here a while. Gemini's different. Gemini just looks at all the crossroads and goes, this will give me 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 this, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and stays there all day long trying to figure out what path to take, but never take any of them. Rahu in Pisces has no problem making a decision. It's just short ways down that decision, he decides, maybe this isn't the right decision, and then he goes to another one, okay? So a fluctuating decision, this way and then this way. Kind of like the tides, they come in and out and bounce them around. The reason there's that fluctuating decision, because Ketu is so duty-bound, he doesn't see the possibilities for happiness beyond his work or his responsibilities. Rahu tries to show him that he doesn't see that by making it hard for him to choose a direction in life. It says, if you could see further, if you can see the happiness that your work could bring you, then you can easily decide what direction your life wants to take. But you can't. You're so duty-bound to what you think you have to do that you can't see the possibilities of where you can swim to, where you can go to. And so, he makes him just feel like life is not going anywhere. He goes here and there, but never gets anywhere. Now, the compensation is always one of Ketu. He compensates by just buckling down and working hard and suffering. Okay? The interesting thing about Ketu and Virgo, Ketu and Pisces, in these signs, Ketu doesn't compensate in an overt way like he usually does. Like in Leo, he has low self-esteem, so he acts arrogant and so on. Rahu in Pisces or Rahu in Virgo doesn't compensate that way. He just buckles down and works harder, even though he has no enjoyment. Even though he doesn't even want to go to work anymore. It's the only thing he knows, so he goes to work. Okay, that's how he does. That's what Ketu and Virgo keeps doing. Now, that doesn't make life any better, though. Life is still just this one big, long duty. There's no more happiness in life. Rahu's in Jupiter sign. It wants to give happiness, ruled by Jupiter. And pleasure. Venus is exalted here. Pisces wants pleasure and happiness. That's what Pisces is all about. So, but not being able to see the possibilities, and then, just continuing to work hard and buckling down and doing what they have to fulfill their duties, the person eventually just gets burnt out. And they feel like life just is never going to be any better. I just work at a meaningless job, and life is never going to get better. And they just get lazy and lethargic. They start sleeping in. They just get burnt out with what they were doing. Okay? Now, what Rahu in Pisces needs to learn how to do is to be open up to possibilities beyond material. It needs to be open up to possibilities of satisfaction from, and things that just produce happiness. Things that don't do anything materially. So just things that make them happy, but which have no material importance at all. Okay? So instead of the work having to be productive, Rahu and Ketu and Virgo always wants to do productive work. So it wants to do a job that brings in income to pay the bills and feed the family and so on. Finding a hobby that's just useless, that they're not even good at, that they're never going to make money at. Just find something that they do for the sheer sake of the enjoyment and pleasure it gives. To work towards vacations and think what they want to see in the world, what kind of vacations they want to take, and to work with those at the goal. So now when they go to work, They're excited about making the money because they're going to use that money to go on vacation or to buy themselves a luxury that they don't even need, like a Porsche or something. So these people need to learn that work is not just for the sake of work and duty, but work also needs to have the outlet of a reward of pleasure, relaxation, vacation, or something like that. Okay? And then they'll find, then they'll know what way to direct their life to get the rewards that they want out of life, while being very conscientious and responsible and fulfilling their duties. Okay? But not just for the sake of that duty, but for the sake that the extra happiness can give, that fulfilling that duty can give them in the form of this reward. Okay? Now on a spiritual level, Ketu in Virgo is the hard worker that needs to approach things with a karma yogi attitude and realize that it's not the work that I'm doing here that matters. It's not me, it's not the fact that I'm moving bricks or building houses or writing books or whatever, feeding the poor. That's not what's important. What's important is the liberation that comes from my work. That this work is liberating my soul from the bind of the earth. That's the more spiritual way to look at it, the way people who are more spiritually evolved will see it. But the average Joe, it's just, let's make this work worthwhile by focusing on the pleasures and happiness that fulfilling my responsibilities will give me as an reward. That it's not just about getting the work done, it's about getting the rewards for work. Spiritually, that means it's not about just getting the work done, it's about the liberation that it comes from me fulfilling this work. As I fulfill my work on earth, my soul moves one step closer to liberation. That's the spiritual way. The average way is, this money is not just going to go towards, me feeding the family. I'm putting away $100 a month. And when I get $1,000, I'm going to buy that beat up old car and restore it. Because it would be a lot of fun for me to be greasy under that car for a few hours every week, having a vacation under that car. Or I'm going to put away $100 a month so I can go to Europe in 2 years, whatever. So this is what Rahu and Pisces needs to learn how to do. And then they find meaning and happiness in their work, beyond just the work part, and expand into greater happiness and pleasure in their lives. Okay? Okay, the last option we have, Ketu and Pisces with Rahu and Virgo. So now we've got the Ketu and Pisces person who's very, knowledgeable about the enjoyments and pleasures that they can be found on earth, and very good at relaxing. And in the spiritual person, a person who's spent recent lifetimes very devoted to their spiritual practices, dealing with material things as little as possible. So in either case, we have a person who's dealt with the material things as little as possible. They preferably decided to focus on spiritual things, pleasurable things, vacations, R&R, relaxing, enjoying things. That the meaning of those things is happiness and pleasure. Okay? They focused on those things. And again, that's what meditation is about. Meditation is about happiness and pleasure, right? But of a higher sort. But they're all encompassed by Pisces over here. So they've been spending most of their time in those areas, and they've realized a lot of fulfillment in those areas. They usually got to a point of discontentment, though, where they don't feel like they can get more out of that. Okay? Like in the sex addict, the guy who's had a lot of pleasure with women, who's had hundreds of women, it's like, it doesn't matter if I have another woman and another woman after having the first 400 of them. It's just the same taste. Or it's the guy who spiritually is just not making any more progress. They go down to meditate and they just don't feel like they're going forward anymore. So whatever their relaxation of choice is, they're not able to take it to a deeper level of pleasure. Okay? If they just paint as a hobby, they just don't get that same fulfillment when they paint. This doesn't make them happy anymore because they painted 1,000 flowers or something. Whatever it is, the pleasurable thing, relaxing thing, is just not hitting it home for them. And the reason it's not because there's this big emptiness up here in Virgo, in that they haven't emphasized enough the building in life, building something concrete, building something they need to be responsible and work towards. Okay? So what happens is, Rahu in Virgo feels stuck in the rut. And the rut is this Ketu rut, of having things that make them feel good and then not finding any meaning in work. Because being stuck in the rut means you don't find any meaning in your work. So Rahu in Virgo is not finding any meaning in its work. It has a hard time finding pleasure or use or purpose in their work, basically. Okay? And this is, Virgo is a sign of fulfilling our responsibilities on Earth so that we have a body to burn our karmas on. Rahu in Virgo doesn't see that purpose. Instead, Ketu is like, I've had all these pleasures and I want something more, and there's nothing here that's more, so it gets discontented. And so, why should I bother with my material responsibilities? If I can't envision a deeper pleasure or take the next step in meditation, why should I bother taking care of my material life? There's no point to it. So they feel stuck in the rut. Nothing they do is going to create any more pleasure. And they don't even see the need to maintain their material responsibilities. And they don't even want to be here. Okay? And then they break down. That life, they break down the feeling life will never get any better. I'm stuck with this level of discontent, and it's never going to get deeper. I'm never going to find a relationship that's better. I'm never going to get to the next step of meditation, whatever. That's the breakdown. Now what Rahu and Virgo has to do is it has to recognize the importance of work and building. It has to go, okay, I need to build something materially, and not just look at this as something that's going to give me happiness and pleasure, but it's something I can take care of and build into something that prospers and grows over time. Okay? So instead of just Ketu for the person who's the womanizer, just finding women to have pleasure with, and can't remember their names after the first 300 women, but Rahu and Virgo going, well, maybe I need to build a life with somebody. I need to be constructive with this thing. And so the painter, instead of the painter just painting for pleasure, maybe learning to paint for money and try to, sell their paint so that what they love doing builds the prosperity in their life and helps take care of their needs. And in the yogi, who can't get deeper to that level of meditation, realizing that they have to do work, they have to do karmas, they have to do service and provide and be responsible, because their soul has reached a certain level of development through Ketu and Pisces, but it's stuck here, it's still on Earth. Why is that? Because it has Rahu and Virgo, it has material karmas to do now. It has to pay for all those donations that fed its body during the 5 lifetimes that it lived in an ashram. All that food that the people in ashram get, it comes from donations. You got to pay for that food sometime. Rahu and Virgo says, now it's your time to pay for that food. You have to get a real job this lifetime and work hard to pay for all those things you've gotten while you were being focused spiritually. And once those things are paid off, once you've fulfilled those material responsibilities, then Ketu can take that next step in your spiritual evolution and take you closer to liberation. So it's a balance between the spiritual work and the material work. You can't be spiritually selfish. You still have to fulfill your karmic responsibilities. You can't shirk your karmic responsibilities. At some point you have to fulfill them. So Rahu and Virgo is saying, this lifetime I have to fulfill my material responsibilities. For the person who's just been enjoyed a lot of pleasure and happiness in the world, and had the money to just go on vacation their whole life, like a rich kid that just had millions of dollars when they were 21 or something. It's about doing work, enjoying the pleasure of being constructive and working to make something better, or working to take care of something else. And through that, they'll develop an appreciation for the enjoyments. Because face it, if you don't do a good hard day's work, coming home and watching TV doesn't feel as good. TV feels great when you work your butt off and you're exhausted and you come down, you plop in front of your TV and relax, right? But if you've been sitting around the house all day watching TV, then come 7 p.m. when it's time to watch TV, watching TV is not really rewarding, is it? So it's like that with all pleasures. The pleasures are rewarding because of the hard work we put in before we got them. The relaxation is rewarding because of all the hard work we did to get that relaxation. So these people need to do the work, Rahu and Virgo, whether the karmic work, to be a karma yogi, or just to be a constructive person in the world, so that the pleasures and enjoyments they give have a foundation for meaning in their life. And then those things will become more enjoyable once again. And then they can live for those things in a balanced fashion with the work that they have to do. Now, Ketu and Pisces, or Ketu and Virgo, either way, this axis is sort of a nice axis in the sense that a lot of the other Rahu-Ketu positions you see, people will compensate in such a way that they become abrasive. All the other positions, Rahu and Ketu, when Rahu compensates, will always compensate in such a way that it's bothersome. Rahu in Cancer starts getting mothering. Rahu in Capricorn starts getting controlling. You name it. They all create something that's uncomfortable to be with. But Rahu and Virgo or Pisces, when they compensate, they don't become abrasive to other people usually. It's their compensation hurts themselves. Rahu and Virgo compensates, what did I say here? Okay, Rahu and Virgo just works. Even though they're exhausted and unenthusiastic, they just push themselves. That's their compensation, just to push themselves. And so it's really easy to have a lot of compassion for these people and say, gosh, they work so hard and they don't get anything out of it. So it's easy to really feel for these people. They have a different type of compensation. And Rahu and Pisces, of course, just has an escapism attitude. And out of that escapism attitude, they just don't move forward in their life. They don't get things done, and they get problems come up into their lives. And of course, those problems coming into their life require them to be more diligent with their work. Okay? So these two always work together. So there's Rahu and Ketu in all 12 signs, which represent the foundation of your Rahu and Ketu experiences, and really the path that your consciousness is going to be evolving along. So it's a very important stuff. What's also important is the house cusps that fall in the signs of Rahu and Ketu. Those will show the specific areas that you're developing this consciousness of Rahu and Ketu. And then, of course, the planets conjuncting Rahu and Ketu are seriously evolving as well. So we're going to talk about those two things, the Bhavas and the planets joining Rahu and Ketu, in future videos here real shortly.